Welcome to Admire, the Art of Business, hosted by Admire Itai Myra, also known as Ziva. In these episodes, we intend to showcase the immigrant communities, people who are doing fantastic work in their varying areas of expertise, whether that be healthcare, big corporates, philanthropy, entertainment, some community work, and other sectors. We have many unique individuals doing incredible work out there in their respective communities. However, we don't hear much about their achievements. Therefore, it is time to shed light on their success stories. We want to bring them to the table, speak to them about their career progression from where they started to where they are now, discuss the challenges they faced and the strategies they employed to overcome them in order to showcase the great work of immigrants in Australia and beyond. Our goal is to inspire the youngsters and people who have personal goals, who may think that they don't possess what it takes to achieve those goals. However, after seeing someone else achieve, strive, and overcome on their way to success, they will believe it's possible for them. You can do it. All that you need is to focus, the attention, a little inspiration, and hard work goes a long way.
Once again, welcome back to Admire the Art of Business, your host Admire Itai Myra. Today, it's a special guest. One lady who has actually gone beyond the expectations, not for her own family, but even for society. For someone who grew up in Zimbabwe, she's here in Australia, and she is specializing in cows. Okay, like the afro cows, which is lovely. Rumbie Mutsiwa. She is the one. She founded an organization called the Rumbie Co. You can see that. Rumbie Co. Right. She specializes in cows and wellness, which is one of the key elements that she does in organization. Focusing on building confidence of wavy, curly, and afro haired people through simplifying curly hair. With 16 years experience researching in curly hair, 7 years in business, in curly hair products, and she's got an academy as well around African curly hairs. Rumbie has been featured and worked with various brands. We talk about Chippendale, we talk about Vogue, we talk about Marie Claire, celebrities that she's worked with. You'll be surprised. She worked with Sabrina Elba, she worked with Natalie Portman, she also worked with Amanda Stepbeck, and many more. And many of that, we're going to have a chat with her so that she simplifies, breaks it out. Rumbie, welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks, Admire.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see your space where you work, and it's quite artistic.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
and
that's all
showcasing
right.
this.
You're welcome. How did you think of having this kind of a place?
I think I attribute this to my mom.
Okay.
Growing up, my mom had this thing where every so often she'd take me to high-end places to get my hair done, to get massages, and I remember the massages would hurt.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, you're pressing too hard.
Yeah.
But because the experience felt, it just felt luxe. You'd get in, and I think it might have been, Sheraton. I was at Monoatapa, I can't remember, but I think it might have been Sheraton. There was this massage place I would go, and I remember they would give us drinks and teas and coffees. And oh no, actually no, I never had coffee. That's a lie. We would have teas, but my mom would have coffee, and with cremora, and I was like, oh my God, it's just a little bit fancy,
Yeah.
So I think as a kid, I just had this notion of being spoilt and feeling that way, but also my dad was very much like that with me as well. So he just always gave me experiences. So this is how this was built. My parents have always been aesthetically focused and with a whole lot of things, and so it's just been ingrained in who I am, I guess. And I've always looked at salons that are out there, and none have ever inspired me to want to go and spoil myself. And yet when I look at salons that where Caucasian people will go to get their hair done, often they look really beautiful, they're nicely tailored, and we didn't have that. And I think when I first came here, that shook me a little bit, and I kept seeking for a place I could go to get my hair done. And I figured, you know what, why not? Let's create it.
Just do it. I can't find it. Let me create it.
Might as well.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So you grew up in Zimbabwe?
Yes.
You did?
Born and raised, and came here for uni when I was 19.
Oh, wow.
18.
18?
18, yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
beautiful. Let's talk about you growing up back in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
All right. Where did you go to high school, by the way?
I went to high school, Marondra High.
Marondra High.
Ndera. Shout out to all my Ndera people.
I love that. But that place is very cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
It was very cold. It prepared me for Australia.
Yeah. You're right.
It prepared me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was life in Ndera.
Ndera was a challenge for me initially because I had come from a place where culturally school was different, you know. So I went to Lewisham Primary School, and at that time, and even throughout preschool, my parents were taught and told to speak to me in English. So I spoke a lot of English more than I did more than I spoke Shona.
Okay.
So by the time I went to Ndera, I felt very much so a foreigner.
Okay.
Because I could understand what they were saying, but I couldn't speak back confidently. So that was a challenge for me. And I guess over time, I got into a space where a friend of mine pushed me to speak Shona. I started speaking Shona and reading Shona. And I know a lot of people are like, how do you not speak Shona? You're from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Well, it happened.
But like a big cultural shock when you go to there?
It was a massive cultural, that's actually when I had my cultural shock. So I didn't have my cultural shock when I came to Australia.
Yeah.
It was because I guess growing up, I grew up around a lot of people from different backgrounds. Most of my friends were kids of diplomats and what have you. So it wasn't that, for me, culture, as far as externally looking different, it wasn't a change.
Yeah.
It was more languaging. It was more, it was language and general culture, because my DG, and raga
I remember that.
And Marondra High, and yet I grew up on rap, soul, and R&B, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? But it's
taking me back in time.
I must say it's probably been one of the best experiences. I look back and I'm like, I'm so grateful that I get to I got to do both worlds, because I do think it's made me more adaptable as an individual.
What about the culture at home? Does that also encourage you in terms of coming from primary school going to Ndera as well? Because that was like a big cultural shock in there for you. What kind of support did you get from family?
Are you kidding me?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I'm a Zimbabwean child. Do you know what I mean? Like, they would just be like, I'm just gonna send you there. You will be all right. And if I actually even talking about this, sometimes they're like, Tim Fide. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, no, true. It was an actual. I think only coming to Australia has allowed me to have words around that. That's when I realized, oh shoot, that was a cultural shock. And because I was very quiet. And most people thought I was from overseas because I was quiet.
What do you mean? Were you quiet?
I was quiet because I couldn't relate to people and I couldn't talk to people. So I could hear what they were saying, but for me to confidently go in and speak to them, I couldn't. I only had one person I could do that with, and because she had a similar background to mine. Yeah, so that was a slight challenge.
Wow.
But yeah,
so
here we are.
You did your all of high school in Marondera?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So did all of high school in Marondera, and it was a very interesting situation. I mean, obviously, because most of my friends had all gone to private school, I went to Marondera High, and then there was this social isolation because in all my friends are kind of like, oh my God, no, you go to where? And this is all my old friends. But then in Marunda High, I wasn't speaking to anyone for me to even have friends, right? So that was a slight challenge. And then I also lived in Mbare as well, because we grew up in Greendale, and Dad died, and then my mom was going to the UK. My gogo was like, let them come and stay with me. And unfortunately, and while my mother was like, no, my grandmother, was upset because she's like, you want some stranger to take care of your children
when I'm here.
And she's like, oh, I don't think my children will be able to deal. And apparently my grandmother's like, do you know what I mean? Like, they will be okay, they'll survive. So then lived in Mbare with my grandmother, which was supposed to be a short stint, but that ended up being quite a long stint. I think it was 3 years, almost 4 years.
In Mbare?
In Mbare.
Okay.
Yeah, so now the thing was, we're in Mbare. I've now gone to Marunda High. My friends are like, oh my God, do you go to where and you live where? No. And so in Mbare, I didn't even have friends either, because people were like, here's the snob, musalad. Even though I wanted to hang. And so it was just, my family are my friends. Yeah.
Because I feel like, you're going to school, then during school holidays, you go home. Then your friends are supposed to be coming from Greendale, then they're living in Mbare. Then what's happening in there?
Nothing. I hung out with my family.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many in your family?
That's a very interesting question.
All right. Okay, but how many sisters and brothers do you have?
Oh, well, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
Actually, no, I lied.
Yeah.
Jesus, take this wheel.
Oh,
there's
my
9
God.
of us.
The family listening to that, she doesn't know you. She doesn't know you at all.
No, you know what? It's oh, shucks.
Yeah.
This is really weird. Please do not judge me. Shucks.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, there's 9 of us, but then 5 of us are very close. 9 of us. So, my parents, we're in a blended family.
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
Yeah, so I've got 5.
Okay.
So, 4 siblings I don't really speak to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Or I don't really see, should I say. Not that I don't speak to. That's not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so interested in terms of Mbare. This first time, was it like after school, then mom said, okay, you're going to be living in Mbare?
Actually, she didn't explain. This is a Zimbabwean family.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not
I
like. No, it's like, I just want to, let's have a family meeting. You're now gonna be living in. Would you like to? No such thing.
No, yeah.
And mom just came and picked us up from school, and yeah.
And that was it.
She came and picked us up from school, and that was that. And then she's just like, I saw her, but she put up a turn off to our house.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, aren't we going home? She's like, we are. And she just kept driving off. And then I was like, oh, we're going to see Ambuya.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
That's
was just, I just figured, okay, cool, too easy, whatever. It's my grandma.
Yeah.
And then we get there, and she's like, take down your trunks. We live here now. I was like, what? And my brother and I, we looked at each other like deer caught in headlights.
I can imagine.
And we're like, we live where?
Yeah.
What happened to our house?
Yeah.
And really the conversation was never had.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't change my experience for the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any lessons that you learned from there, the experience and everything?
Well, I think I got to live with my grandmother, and my grandmother was a very strong woman.
Okay.
She raised her kids from crocheting mud doilies.
Oh, wow.
And so she would crochet doilies and sell them in Botswana. So I guess for me, I got to see that part of my grandmother and the strong woman, and she was a tough cookie, but she taught me so many different lessons. And I also have learned, my parents had always instilled this in us anyway, the fact that you just never really, the only thing that separates you from another person is circumstance. And so you just have to be in a space where you respect each individual for whatever, on whatever journey they are, because you just never know. And so I guess that's probably been that echoed more true to me in that phase of my life, even though it was something that was brought up, that I was brought up knowing as a child. And so that then echoed true because our circumstances changed significantly. And then there was inflation in Zim. So, you know, and so life just changed. But, you know, my mom still worked hard. So again, I got to see another strong woman just being able to have a vision and continue on and be like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my children working, going overseas. And she was intent, regardless of what it meant, what she needed to change. And she just made it happen.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just being around some people that have vision and are just are driven to achieving that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably what I've learned the most of that phase of my life. Yeah.
Do you think your grandma's business acumen as well was just doing madoiri also inspired you doing your business? Yeah.
No.
No. What do you mean no?
No, I don't think it did
Okay.
initially. Like, I guess this is partly where I get it from. But you know, my grandmother refused to even have me watch her wachiruka madoiri. She goes, it tells you chikoro. You know what I mean? You know?
It tells you chikoro, right?
It tells you chikoro. I was like, go. I'm not gonna stop studying because I just know how to crochet doilies. You know. But for her, she was like, no, this is a thing. You know, because she managed to buy her a house. She managed to school her children and give her children a good quality of life. And so for her, she was like, this is it. This is it. And I want you to do more. So no, I didn't really learn anything from my grandmother. When it comes to that, we never spoke about those things. It was just your typical, go to school.
Okay.
So yeah.
So your mom went to overseas to the UK, right? And
Yes.
you guys left in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How did you manage the communication in there when you got your parents overseas? You're the other side.
Look, I think it's again nothing. It's not anything that's necessarily explained. And I feel like that's typical in an African family, right?
Yeah.
Or Zimbabwean family, should I say? But our parents don't necessarily go out there and say to you, "Oh, hey, we should have family time." It doesn't happen. We should have family calls, or we should have. So it was just haphazard, really, just calls here and there, or probably weekly. In the least, sometimes a little bit more than that.
Okay.
But then I went to boarding school as well, right? So so just it was haphazard. There was nothing that we ever planned. Yeah. But other than just trying to keep our family intact and close knit. That's pretty much it, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how close are you with you and your brother? Because you say.
Oh no, I'm close to 5 of my siblings.
Yeah.
Right. We are. Did I say 5? Yeah, 5 of my siblings because I would be the 6th. Look, listen, this is confusing.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I'm close to 5 of my siblings, and love them to bits. They've been supportive of this whole journey. Since I started, they never doubted me, and so I'm super grateful.
No, that's good. That's good. All right. So in high school, what kind of profession were you looking at? Like, you're like, okay, when I grow up, I want to do this. I want to do this. What kind of professions are you looking at?
Yeah. So growing up, my dad always talked about me being a lawyer.
Oh.
So I would even help out at his office or at his friend's office who was a barrister. And so he would have me help just picking up papers. You know, he's like, this is my little lawyer, you know. So he was sort of grooming me into being a lawyer, and I thought I would be a lawyer because I was also a daddy's girl.
Okay.
So
sweet.
Yes.